Welcome to today's episode of Over 50 and Flourishing. It is so good to have a repeat guest with me today. If you did not see our first podcast, we can always link that together. I thought you and I had such a great conversation the first go around. So my guest today is Derrick Kinney. He is the author of Good Money Revolution. Derrick and I met at Morning on Merit. You would come on our show a lot to talk about different aspects of finances. You're so well-versed in all things money. You're incredibly relatable, and my audience loved you the first go around. And it was funny. So what prompted our second meeting today is we were sending back and forth a post that came up on Instagram, and it was so funny. So the post said, study finds that retail therapy scientifically makes you feel happier. And I was like, duh. So I posted that, and you wrote back, okay, you said truth would be a good podcast topic for you and I to talk about. I'm like, it sure would. Let's book it. It's spring cleaning time, and can I encourage you to start with your bra drawer? Oh my gosh, they mushroom in there. What is going on? We don't wear half of the bras in that drawer, and I'm telling you what, I am now down to 3. And do you know who makes them? Honeylove. That's right, because I've gotten real with my bras, and I've gotten real with all of that underwire and all of the stuff that I thought was so pretty and decorative and hurt. It's gone. I'm sorry. It's just gone. Treat yourself to the most comfortable and innovative bras on earth and save 20% off site-wide at honeylove.com/over50. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off. honeylove.com/over50. After your purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Experience the new standard in bras with Honeylove. My hairstylist recently told me to get a silk pillowcase to protect my hair, and boy, was she right. So I ditched my cotton pillowcase. I opted for Blissy's silk one, and can I tell you, my hair and skin have never looked better. It eliminates frizz, and it protects coarse and color-treated hair. And because you're a listener, Blissy is offering 60 nights risk-free plus an additional 30% off when you shop at blissy.com/over50pod. That's BLISSY.com/over50pod and use code over50pod to get an additional 30% off. Your skin and hair will thank you. Vacation season is almost here. Who doesn't love to travel in style and not break the bank? That's why I love Quince's high-quality travel essentials at great prices. With premium luggage options and stylish tote bags to carry it all, who doesn't want that? And Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with the top factories, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. For your next trip, treat yourself to the luxe upgrades you deserve from Quince. Go to quince.com/over50 for 365-day returns plus free shipping on your order. That's QUINCE.com/over50 to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/over50. Here we are talking about, retail therapy. Look, I am a reformed retail therapy junkie. I fully confess that once upon a time, I would use retail to feel better about my life, right? Many people do, women and men.
That's right.
So
Not just women. Men are included here as well. You're exactly right.
Yeah, and I don't want to leave the guys out of this really bad habit. but
equal opportunity bad
equal
habits
opportunity
here.
offenders, we all are. But I kind of want to get a grip on it because in a way it's a bit of a societal joke, right? We laugh about it, we talk about it, we justify it. Oh, little retail therapy. But in fact, we could be doing so much more harm than we realize. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about this, maybe kind of the psychological component of what's going on here. Why does it feel so stinking good when we go get a new pair of shoes?
Well, life is hard. Yeah. I mean, let's face it. People are struggling. There's a lot of frustration people have. And a lot of times people feel like they have no control or little control over their lives. They're told what to do. They're told what to do with their job. They've got to pay the bills. It's like life is telling them what to do as opposed to them telling life what they want to do. And so retail therapy is like one little morsel of their life that they get to control it. They get to walk down the aisle and look at stuff and picture themselves in the outfit or with this makeup or with this sporting good item. And they think this will help me feel better, at least temporarily. And really what it is a lot of people are looking for Band-Aids in their life. And what they really need is more comprehensive financial first aid treatment.
Right. CPR, I think.
CPR to resuscitate them financially.
Yeah.
But that's why retail therapy is so powerful. And what I tell people, surprisingly, this is kind of my hot take, it's not always a bad thing. But it's all how you handle it. If you're simply just spending to spend and make yourself feel better, it's going to cost you. But there's kind of a secret that I discovered that if you can tie your spending to a goal that you achieved, now you're actually making more money, or your life is improving in some hard place you want to work on, and use the spending to reward and motivate yourself, then it becomes this powerful change that people can use to say, I'm going to do the hard stuff, so then I can reward myself and do the fun stuff.
Ooh, I love that. See, I want to help guide our listeners and viewers how to get there. You used a very interesting word, control. And you said it's something you feel you can control. Here's what I found in the process, and maybe some of you can attest to this. I felt like I was losing control. I felt like it was starting to control me.
Yes.
That I had to do it in order to feel good, which meant I was no longer in control of the situation. Yeah. So it was an emotional need being met because I wasn't meeting other needs and addressing other needs. So there was this, aside from a financial component, there's a deep psychological component that I think men and women need to address as to why are you filling that hole with retail? Yes. And yes, I mean, sure, we all look at the way you're dressed. Clearly, you enjoy good retail, Derrick Kinney.
I do.
Okay, yes. you do. You are a very, very well-dressed man.
Thank you.
But I'm sure as, a wealth management person who's written books and managed money for all kinds of people, I'm sure that your retail did not dominate your lifestyle.
No, matter of fact, I'll tell you a story.
Okay.
So this is a true story. And it ties into retail. So there was a couple I was working with, and the man discovered that they were $60,000 in credit card debt.
Wow.
And his wife had hidden this from him for years. And what would happen is, he didn't know it at the time, but his wife would go to the mailbox, get the mail, and manage all the credit under the guise of she's just paying the bills. And by the way, this can go both ways. This could be a male issue, female issue. In this case, she was the one doing it. What we uncovered was, in this moment of truth in the meeting, you can imagine how embarrassed and mortified she was as this all came out. She was covering up for some deep psychological wounds that she was feeling. So she was buying purses and shoes and clothes with the hope, the deep desire that this insatiable concern she had would be filled with buying these items. And the problem was it wasn't. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. So you can imagine the conversation they had at home when this was uncovered. Then they had to come to the financial advisor. And now it's out in the public. Right. They had to take money from their IRA early. So they paid taxes and an early withdrawal penalty.
Right, just to cover the debt.
And what happened was, though, there was this reconciliation that did occur because it forced them to finally talk about money and be vulnerable and open with each other. And one of the things that came out of this, and I actually talk about this on TV a fair amount, is how to fight fair when it comes to money. And what he was doing was he began accusing her of, well, I can't believe you're doing this, and you got us into trouble, and why did you do this? It was all about you. But in actuality, he played a part indirectly because of how she was feeling. She didn't feel heard or valued or understood. And so what happened was we began to coach them on how do we talk about money in a healthy way. Instead of saying, it's your fault and why are you doing this? Hey, could you help me understand what's happening here? I noticed this. Can you fill in the gaps? Or a good fallback, the story I'm telling myself right now is, it seems like something wrong is going on with our finances. Am I telling myself the right story?
Interesting.
Non-threatening ways to address financial issues. But the bottom line was she thought, if I buy, it won't make me cry. And that was hurting them, not just financially, but in their marriage as well.
Yeah, boy, the root is communication on everything. Getting real with yourself and then getting real with your partner. Boy, how many times have we joked about those stories? Women have said, I've hidden packages in the trunk of the car. And then when he's not home, I'm dragging them in and I'm unpacking boxes and putting, I mean, there's an element of shame to it because we know deep inside we shouldn't be spending that kind of money. If you're having to do something in secret and you can't be fully honest and transparent about what's going on, red flag.
Red flag. And one thing, Dominique, I think people make the mistake of, well, this must be somebody doing this who doesn't have much money. And they're sort of finding a way to fill in this gap. This is a problem that crosses all socioeconomic boundaries. Some people may be barely making ends meet and they want to relieve that stress. Others may be making $1 million or more a year, and the stress that they're feeling, retail therapy is a way to alleviate that. What I would tell people is wherever you are, people listening right now may be at all ends of that spectrum, just ask yourself, is your life where you want it to be right now? And if not, then you've got to make a change. Because if you don't make a change, you're going to have that same feeling that my life is not where I want it to be next year and the following year. And money typically is not the source of the problem. It's an effect of the problem. Yeah. And so when people can talk about it, whether you're single and you talk about it with a friend, you're married, talk about it with your spouse, the key is just have open communication. And once couples, this is a superpower. I like to say when couples plan together and they pray together and they grow together, they stay together.
Right.
And that's the key. When you're on the same page with your money, serious good things can happen. You tend to grow your wealth a whole lot faster.
Yeah. Not spend together.
That's right. Yeah.
I noticed that was out. That's right. I noticed that wasn't a part of the equation.
Pray together, not spend together. That's right.
Don't spend together. So you save together. But you talked a little bit to me before we started about the reward. Now, there's a way to do it where you can reward yourself with some things. And the other aspect too, I think as we kind of mature and grow and we assess our value system, we may suddenly decide that all those things that we put value in, the high-end Valentino shoes or whatever it is that you go for, suddenly it's like, you know what, that stuff just doesn't matter anymore. So your value system may change, but you may still find joy in the purchase of something. Maybe you've moved on to air fryers. I don't know. I'm just saying, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I guess the point is that we should take a really hard look at what we're valuing in life and the impact of the cost to that, because we could be taking money from our future, our children's future, just because we're valuing materialism. And then don't we need to ask ourselves why? Why does this matter so much?
Yeah. Well, my take tends to be kind of a crazy take, okay? I'm the guy that leads our family yearly through a goal-setting exercise. We started this about 15 years ago. And my kids would throw stuff at me. If they knew cuss words, they would have used them. Dad, I can't believe you're forcing us to do this. And I kept their cars, or we wrote goals in their young handwriting and stuff. Now they're bringing their friends to this. But what we found was that when you can set a goal, and a goal is control. When you write a goal down, you're controlling what it is you want. Doesn't mean you know how to get there or that you will get there, but you're controlling the idea that I get to have this. I'm worthy of this. And so to your point, what I find in working with clients for 25 years is spending itself, for me to tell someone, hey, stop spending, that's going to fall on deaf ears. That means nothing. Unless I can replace it with something more attractive. That's the game we're playing. And so what I tell people is, look, if you can set 3 personal and 3 financial goals. So there's a 5-step plan that we have called the Millionaire Money Map, where we help anyone become a millionaire. Step 1 is set goals for what you want. So when people write down 3 financial goals, for example, if I'm $6,000 in credit card debt, my goal is to pay off $1,500 a quarter. And when I do that, here's the magic, then I get to spend on something I want to reward my hard work. So with our family, we'll write down these goals, and I'll have our family write down what's a quarterly incentive that you want. So for example, I like Chris Stapleton. So I wrote down one of my quarterly goals. I'm going to go to a Chris Stapleton concert to reward myself. I want to go, this is crazy. I want to go to the Reagan Presidential Library in California. I want to walk on the real Air Force One. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, here's a good way to do that. Or I want to take my wife and I to a cool restaurant. So these are things that motivate me. But what I would tell people is, until the pain is great, the change does not occur. Until you feel the pain, that if I don't make this change, the motivation will not be there. Some people are self-motivated, but very few are. The pain's got to be there to make that change. But if you want to say, look, I still want to spend, go have the hard conversation with your boss and say, let's work on a raise. Set goals for yourself. And then when you do those things, now shopping takes on a more meaningful role because it's not just buying an object, it's buying something to represent you doing something hard.
Yeah, you making a sacrifice.
Powerful.
That's very, very powerful. You know, we are talking with Derrick Kinney, author of Good Money Revolution. The impetus of this conversation is that retail therapy, yes, does in fact make you feel good, but it is fleeting and it is only momentary. So we're coming up with strategies so that we can enjoy our retail therapy, use it as a way of reward for good deeds and good behavior and being good stewards of the income that we bring in. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to talk about some real practical ways that we can do those things and tee ourselves up for success right after this. It's spring cleaning time, and can I encourage you to start with your bra drawer? Oh my gosh, they mushroom in there. What is going on? We don't wear half the bras in that drawer, and I'm telling you what, I am now down to 3. And do you know who makes them? Honeylove. That's right, because I've gotten real with my bras and I've gotten real with all of that underwire and all of the stuff that I thought was so pretty and decorative and hurt. It's gone. I'm sorry. It's just gone. Honeylove has absolutely changed my bra game. They give me support. They lift me. The fabric is soft. It's like second skin. I mean, it's amazing. And especially with these warmer days, I don't need something pinching and binding and feeling hot. I want it to not be noticeable whatsoever. Their best-selling crossover bra is my go-to. I've got it in a couple of different colors, and I absolutely love it. They also have amazing shapewear as well, leggings, loungewear, you name it. But let's just stick with the bras for today's episode. Treat yourself to the most comfortable and innovative bras on earth and save 20% off site-wide at honeylove.com/over50. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off, honeylove.com/over50. After your purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Experience the new standard in bras with Honeylove. My hairstylist recently told me to get a silk pillowcase to protect my hair, and boy, was she right. So I ditched my cotton pillowcase. I opted for Blissy's silk one, and can I tell you, my hair and skin have never looked better. It eliminates frizz and it protects coarse and color-treated hair. Also, Blissy's is dermatologist tested and recommended, clinically proven not to clog pores, unlike cotton, and naturally hydrating silk fibers keep skin moisturized all night. I can go on and on. Easy to care for. Over 70 colors. Hello, there's one in there for you. Trust me. And because you're a listener, Blissy is offering 60 nights risk-free plus an additional 30% off when you shop at blissy.com/over50pod. That's BLISSY.com/over50pod and use code over50pod to get an additional 30% off. Your skin and hair will thank you. Welcome back. We are talking money and retail therapy. Oh, what a fun conversation.
Yes, it is.
It is. Derrick Kinney is with me, the author of Good Money Revolution, a longtime friend. You've seen him on Merit before with me, and I'm just so glad to have you, here in the Over 50 and Flourishing studio.
I love being here.
Well, it's awesome having you. You're just a wealth of information when it comes to all things money and strategy, which I love. And we were talking about the fact that, yes, retail therapy is scientifically proven to make you happier.
It is.
As if they needed a study. Women around the world could have rang that bell loud and clear and said, you idiots, we know this. Why do you think we do it? But as we said, also, it's women and men. I don't want to leave the guys out. Guys enjoy shopping too. But unfortunately, we can set ourselves up for some really bad habits if we don't catch ourselves, because there's a reason why it's called retail therapy, right? It's not retail spending. It's that we're using it as therapy, which means we're using it to mask, hide, cover some hole that's there that we're not necessarily addressing. I really loved the story that you brought to the podcast about the couple where the woman had been spending so much and had been running the finances and hid it. And it wasn't until she and her husband had a coming to Jesus moment and they addressed it. They finally got to the root of the problem and were able to essentially nip it in the bud. So the goal here is not to completely eliminate the desire for retail, but to get it away from being therapy, right? To deal with the source of why we even need to shop in the first place and how we can better manage and handle our money so that we can enjoy a good spend as a reward for our good efforts. And that's where we left off before the commercial break. I love the story that you shared about your family kind of setting up goal reward, right? So how can we practically kind of go through our lives to become more goal oriented with our money and then also decide how much of a reward should there be?
Yeah, that's always a great question. Let me go back one step to kind of tee this up, Dominique. I think you set it up so well. Let me tell you a story. So this goes to money beliefs. And a lot of what we do and how we act is based on our relationship with money and how we view money. Are we good with money? Are we deserving of money? Are we worthy of money? And if not, it can lead us to make bad choices to then think that money will fill a gap in our lives. So a woman called me on a Saturday morning. I was in the office working on some things and I saw my voicemail light blinking. And a voice inside said, Derrick, you need to answer this. So I pressed play and there was a frantic woman's voice that said, Derrick, you need to call me back as soon as you get this. They're about to send me to jail. Well, I've never had a message like that. You ever had anybody leave a message like that on your?
No, I'd be horrified.
So I knew I couldn't wait till Monday. That news would not age well. I called her back immediately. She said, Derrick, thank you for being in the office. I got this letter in the mail that says they're going to send me to jail. And I said, well, first of all, what does the letter say? It said she hadn't moved money from her savings to checking. She wrote a hot check. It was a non-sufficient funds notice. And I said, well, why in the world do you think that letter means you're going to go to jail? So she then tells me a story. She says, Derrick, when I was 7 years old, I overheard a phone conversation that my dad received from a store owner. He had gone there to buy school supplies for she and her sister, and he had accidentally bounced a check. And the store owner said to the dad on the phone, I know you did this on purpose. I'm going to send the cops to your house and arrest you for bouncing a check. She overheard that as a 7-year-old girl. Now she's 55 years old. And that letter took her back to the emotions and trauma she felt as a 7-year-old. And I said, you know what? We will call together Monday. We'll move money from your savings to checking. We'll get it covered. But more importantly, come in the office next week and let's talk about this. So we did the call Monday. She comes in the office and we begin to peel back like an onion some of these beliefs. Well, she'd complained to me for years. She got passed over for the raise, didn't make the money she was deserving. And here was a woman, Dominique, on the outside that was the picture of success. Highly respected on the outside, a wilting flower on the inside. Well, we uncovered, and she never took my advice. That was the main thing. This is good advice. She could have made a lot of money, but she didn't want to take the risk. What happened after unpacking all this and talking through this, she got a $25,000 raise within 3 months and got promoted to vice president.
Wow.
And the whole lesson was she had it inside her all the time. It was her self-limiting beliefs that held her back. And how I would tie that into what you asked is, so many people think that if I spend money, it will make me feel better about myself. They tie money to the solution to their pain. In actuality, money is not the medicine to the pain. Money is simply a symptom of what you already have inside. And so if you're believing about yourself, I'm deserving of the raise, I'm deserving to make more money, I deserve to have value, I deserve the best things in life, those things will typically be attracted to you because you are making things happen with that belief system. But if you're only thinking that I'm probably less than, I always make bad decisions. You know, that one decision I made back in the past, that just confirms that I'm really bad with money. Well, you will likely never, ever be successful with money.
Yeah.
I like to say your bank account starts in your mind first.
Sure does.
And goes to your purse or your wallet or your savings account second.
And I would say that applies to anything in life. A limiting mindset, whether it is about money, relationships, career, will sabotage you in every single way. So you've got to take the limits off of yourself and off of what God can do in your life as well, and the work there. And I think also, the mismanagement of money can lead to people's demise. That if you can't get a grasp on your emotions and why you're spending, you can really put yourself in a pickle. So I encourage people to do that work, that self-analysis. Why do I feel the need to spend? What hole is this trying to fill? And then go address that. And if that requires therapy, if that requires an honest heart-to-heart with your spouse, a parent, whatever it may be, don't use money as a Band-Aid, to fix your problems. Fix your problems and then get smart about money.
So true. And what I would tell people is, everybody makes mistakes. And when I invest and so forth, you have to be willing to accept that you're going to make a mistake or lose money. That's part of the deal.
Sure.
But for example, if I'm in my car driving over to the podcast studio today and I miss the turn, do I pull over and start crying? No. I realize, I just made a wrong turn. I get back on the road again. But so many people put the stakes to be so high on every part of their life. Oh my gosh, I overspent by $500 on this. I must be terrible with money. No. I call that affectionately a cost of doing business or a cost of doing life. We learn and we move on. And one of the things when we talk about goals, so many people think, well, Derrick, we only set New Year's resolutions. And the problem is most people within a week of the new year have not made any progress toward any resolution. And they think, well, I guess I'm sentenced to another year like last year.
Right.
And that is just not right. Your viewers and listeners deserve better. What I would tell them is there's a better way to set goals. And that is you want to pick out things that you're excited about, not goals you think you should set or what other people tell you you should do. This is about you. This is about you crafting your choose your own adventure story and pick out the goals you want. For example, if you want to have a second home that you picture renting out as a VRBO, then write that down as a goal. And the key is once you write that down and you review it every single day, because life is going to come at you hard. And without a plan, life's plan will beat you down. You got to fight back and say, I know life is coming at me, but I've got a plan that I want, and I'm going to fight back on this. But here's a way to supercharge that. You want to then take the goal and write down what's at stake if you don't achieve that goal. This is powerful.
Accountability.
I want you to picture, if I don't achieve this goal, this will lead my family not to have the financial freedom I want, and I will not be able to hold my spouse's hand walking on the beach and feel the kernels of sand between my toes. Or I will not be able to see my grandkids who live across the country because I can't afford the flight. Or if I'm not in good shape, I won't be able to crawl across the floor and chase my grandkids. And that is just not right. And what I tell people to then do is on a note card, write out my ideal year as though it's already happened. This was the best year ever. We are now inside of our new Airbnb. We're decorating it. We have our first renters coming in. I'm so excited to spend time with my grandkids. And you want to write out ideally the year because the way God made us, He gave us some tools. One is our brain. I like to say, put your brain on the payroll. Let your brain do the work for you. When you go to sleep at night and there's a problem you're thinking about, how many times do you wake up and you're like, oh, okay, now I know what to do? It's because God gave us a brain that wants to problem solve. And even the other asset, which is our subconscious mind. When the subconscious mind sees you reading a note card out loud of your perfect year, the subconscious mind thinks, I guess that's my assignment. I need to go help make that happen. It's how God made us. And so what I tell people is use the assets that God has given you to build real investment assets. It's the key.
It's great. And I love the forward-thinking approach. I think too often we're caught up in the now.
Yeah.
And we don't think about the consequences of the choices that we're making right now, nor do we think about how these decisions will impact our future life. It's as if somebody else is going to live that life for us down the road, almost as if we have no accountability for how all of that is going to play out.
Right.
And I love how you are setting it up to think that way and to think about what life will look like when you're 60, 70, and 80. And after this break, we're going to thank our sponsors. I really want to lay out some practical steps that people can do right now so that they can break the chains of any kind of retail therapy, shop for what's necessary, shop wisely for enjoyment, but really plan for a great future. And we'll break all that down right after this. Vacation season is almost here. Who doesn't love to travel in style and not break the bank? That's why I love Quince's high-quality travel essentials at great prices. With premium luggage options and stylish tote bags to carry it all, who doesn't want that? And Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with the top factories, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. I love that. I'll be taking their Italian leather triple compartment shopper tote on my next vacation because it's great on the plane and it's an incredibly fashionable workhorse carry-all. For your next trip, treat yourself to the luxe upgrades you deserve from Quince. Go to quince.com/over50 for 365-day returns plus free shipping on your order. That's QUINCE.com/over50 to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/over50. Welcome back. We are getting smart with our money thanks to our friend Derrick Kinney, the author of the book Good Money Revolution. We are nipping retail therapy in the bud, Derrick.
That's right.
We've got the shears out.
The scissors
and
here.
That's it. We're calling it a day. We're calling it a day. We need to get real with money. This audience primarily is over 50. We got some 40s in there.
They're sneaking in. They like the good stuff.
They do.
That's right.
I even have some 30-somethings in, and I'm glad we're catching them now.
They have to pay more, though, don't they, to be part of this if you're 30?
They should, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
exactly.
Early access.
Right, but I like that they're coming in because they want to get a leg up on this time of life. So it's critical now. It's critical to plan for the future. It honestly, that should have happened way before. But look, some people, and I don't even want to get into should-haves or could-haves. There are some people who are, maybe we're meeting them right where they are, where it's like, I'm not ready. I haven't planned. Right. I've been spending too much. I need to now get serious about my financial future. One thing that kind of hit me, and I've been through, as you know, a lot of changes and moves and whatnot. And I kind of got real. I got to the emotional root of my spending, and I dealt with that. And I started making practical steps and changes into how I spent, when I spent. I stopped, aimlessly driving around and just kind of popping into stores. Those days are done. I don't spend nearly as much time cruising websites. If I buy stuff, it's oftentimes for my business, for YouTube and showing content. But I'm really, really mindful and forward thinking, which is what you talked about. I have those visions of feeling my toes in the sand. And I like how that looks. And I like how financial freedom looks. And I like how the opportunity of working because I want to and not because I have to.
Yes.
So I've already put things into play to help me save money. But what we were talking about during the break was, we get so excited about shopping. And you were saying, well, I get so excited about investing.
I do. Yeah.
And a lot of us don't have that knowledge per se to get so excited about investing. But tell us about the thrill in that and the thrill of actually having the money to invest.
Well, we were kind of joking off the air that if somebody gave me $10,000, that may seem like a lot to some or not much to others. I would give probably 20% to the church. We just love to give and be generous. But instead of buying something, I would actually buy another investment. Because to me, the thrill of making money to then invest it to make more money, because I do that for people myself, and to see the joy in that is so much fun. But it got me thinking, I actually talk about this in the book, as I would work with clients who are 50 plus, there's a range of emotions they're feeling, Dominique. And one can be frustration.
Yes.
One can be celebration, like they're close, they've done a good job. And others are just wondering, why does everybody else know the secret that I don't?
Yes.
What's happening here? And I call it the sweet spot. There's this sweet spot of about 5 to 15 years, and it's this ultimate catch-up strategy. So typically people's houses may be closer to getting paid off. Maybe the kids are out of the house. Maybe one of the cars gets paid off. And suddenly there's this thing called discretionary income that makes available. And now you've got a choice to make. I can either spend this, or I can use this discretionary money as this ultimate retirement redemption plan. And the key is, how do we invest that money? And what we talked about off the air is, for many people, investing is boring. It's like, I know I need to do it, but it doesn't mean anything to me. So what I always like to do with my clients is, how do we make investing personal? So I would even talk to them about, hey, what brands do you like? Like if you were going to go to the store and have retail therapy, what brands bring you joy? And they might say, whatever the brands are, Nike or Adidas or, different brands that are out there. Okay. And I would say, well, do you think you're the only adult in the whole world who likes that brand? Well, no, there's millions of people. Well, the fact that you like it, you're like a one-person focus group. So why don't we buy a little bit of stock in that company? Then it's fun. So as you're enjoying wearing that or driving that or using that product or service, you're making money because other people are probably buying that as well. Or something simple like the S&P 500 index. So think about this. With one trade, you have access to the top 500 companies in America.
Correct.
The best and the brightest men and women running these companies, heavily incentivized to make money. Now, it doesn't go up up all the time, but over time, it's the best way to beat market averages. Most mutual fund managers who are highly paid never beat the S&P 500.
Interesting.
So all of these things, there's investment opportunities there, but the key is to invest in things that you like. But I'll go back to the rewards. We used to think that rewards only benefited if you're in kindergarten or first grade, you bring home A's for your report card, your mom takes you to Chuck E. Cheese. But as adults, we love rewards as well. So when you can reward yourself, because when you're paying down debt or you're catching up, you're going to say a lot of no's. Your friends are going to be going on the cruises and to the concerts and things that you want to be doing, and you're going to feel the pressure, that financial peer pressure we thought left us in high school only magnifies as an adult. And you're going to feel shamed and invalidated. So when you can say to somebody, our budget won't allow us to do that because you've made the decision that your goal path is your goal path, but my goal path is my goal path. And you're confident in that. Now you're making progress.
Yeah. That's where you need boundaries, but you need a framework and you need a plan.
Yes.
You need a plan. Let's say we're talking to a woman in her 50s and she doesn't feel like she's where she needs to be.
Yeah.
It's never too late.
No.
It's never too late. What are some practical strategies to put into place right now
Yeah.
to get you in a place where you are saving well, investing well, and what are some things that we should be looking at?
Yeah. So if I tell people just invest, again, that falls on deaf ears because then you wonder where and why.
Sure.
So let's go back to step one of the Millionaire Money Map is to set 3 personal and 3 financial goals. Once you have a roadmap of here's what I want and why I want it, and what's at stake if I don't get it, and how good it will feel, the emotion I attach to that when I achieve it, that's powerful. So now we have a roadmap. It's like your financial GPS you programmed just for you. And when you arrive, you're going to love it.
Right.
It's like your favorite vacation spot. That's step number 1. Number 2 is determine an income goal that you want for 2025. Now, so many people think, well, Derrick, how do I do that? I get paid what I get paid. And they've sort of been trained that you're probably never going to make much more than you're making right now. So I would tell people is ask themselves 3 questions in your current job, whether you are the assistant, you're the regional vice president, you're a mid-level manager, whatever you're doing, you want to make sure that you're helping the company or the small business make more money. So ask yourself in your current role, how can I help the company make more money? How can I help the company save more money? And how can I help increase productivity? Because every boss's favorite radio station is WIIFM. What's in it for me? Okay? And so when you bang on the boss's door and demand the raise, they don't care. But if you don't do something, you're going to settle for the 4% raise a year, and that's not the path to wealth. So when you add value, you become more valued. So we're setting the goals, we're determining the income. Now, some people watching this may not be able to impact their income. For example, you could be the best teacher in the town you live in, but you are not making more money unless all the other teachers get a pay raise. So you have a choice to make. Do I want to stay teaching and make less money, or do I change careers? Most teachers love what they do. So now you ask, what side hustle could I start? Are you the teacher who other teachers go to say, your classroom management is immaculate? Tell us the secrets. Well, that's your course that you create, and now you sell to teachers all over the country. That's how you make extra money. Or you're working part-time, or you launch something. And the key there is asking yourself, what do people naturally ask for my help with? Are you the travel planner, the closet organizer, the website developer, the proofreader of papers? What do you do normally that you just take for granted you're good at? You can now charge for that.
Well, look at you. Now you're just sparking entrepreneurship right there.
Exactly. Yeah. And so all these people have these ideas. And then the third is get started on a wealth plan. If, for example, your company or your school offers a match, if you put money into a retirement account, at least put in what the match is.
Sure, usually 6%.
Usually 6%, sometimes 4%, whatever that may be. But then push yourself. And the key is, if I give everybody one tip, invest at the first of the month like it's a bill. You don't want to wait until the month is over. There's often more month left than there is money. And you want to begin to think like you are the CEO of your money. I mean, that's what you're talking about on this podcast, is taking control of your life. And part of that is taking control of your money. You are the CEO. Every dollar you bring in needs to have a job assigned to it before it comes in. You do those things, you're going to feel empowered, and you're going to be making progress, and momentum begets momentum. And momentum leads to more money.
Yeah. And it could mean making the hard decisions now, because if you are at this age and you're not where you need to be, I mean, you can rely on the federal government for only so much, right?
The crumbs.
Crumbs, exactly. At this point, hard decisions have to be made, don't they? On lifestyle.
They do.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I had a couple come in the office. Crazy story. This was a doctor, and they said, Derrick, we're making $1 million a year, but they were spending $1.1 million a year. And here's why I tell this story. So they said, can you help us reduce our expenses? And I said, well, would you consider selling your second house, selling the second Mercedes, and cutting the country club membership?
Right.
And what his wife said to me shocked me. She said, Derrick, if we do that and don't look successful, his clients and patients will think that the practice is sinking. So no, we can't do that. And they left the office wondering what happened. And I say that because they were living a life, because who cares? How many of his patients really see the house he lives in,
the car he's driving,
or the car he drives, or where he goes to the country club? So one of the things I would tell people right now is, this is your life. What are your goals? And have a plan for what you want. What is it that you want? That's the key. But most people don't take the time, the 30 minutes to write down, what is it that I really want for myself? So I will actually go on a yearly sabbatical every year as a business owner. I found I really run hard toward things, but without a goal, I run hard in a circle and I get nowhere.
Sure.
A lot of people can relate to that. And I ask God for wisdom, and I do three things. I say, how can I be a better husband? How can I be a better father? And how can I be a better business owner?
There you go.
And it's just time to work on myself. And I began to write out, this was a couple years ago, write a best-selling book on money, write a best-selling book for teens, coach, speak, consult. And I began to write out my wish list. I would tell everybody watching right now, I don't care. Your past has passed. All you have is this moment and going forward. We don't care about the rear view. We care about what's in front of you.
That's right.
That's the key. And so when you write down what it is that you want, that's the magic button. It doesn't matter that it's February and New Year's resolutions were so January. you've got the whole year. Take the whole month of February, get your financial goals in order, and then March, we're going to kick it. That's the key. It's never lost. So don't die before you're dead.
There you go.
That's the key.
That's true. And, and that's why the rear view mirror is this big and the windshield is this big, because we are supposed to be forward thinking. And it's amazing how micro tweaks and decisions can have major impact. And I think a lot of people just feel like they've got to throw it all out and start all over. And you can really start making micro decisions in your life to start accumulating some money, which then put in the right places can really accumulate wealth. For those people, look, you're a professional investor.
Sure.
That's your wheelhouse. That's what you know. For people who just don't know and don't know what to do, what do you recommend that they do in regards to investing and the different types of investments out there? My gosh, my son talks to me about like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
Sure.
And I have sat there and I've listened to him. He's a business major and he's like talking in circles around me.
Yeah.
I don't understand it for the life of me. But I know people are doing great on it.
Right.
So, I kind of get traditional stocks. I get the S&P, I get the basics.
Yeah, I understand.
And I get real estate and all of that. But where do you go so that you are guided with somebody who's knowledgeable, who can help you?
Yeah.
That's a lot. And there's a lot of trust involved in that too.
Yeah. Well, as a former top 1% financial advisor, what I would tell my clients, and we helped a lot of them go from middle class to millionaire, is you want to find someone who gets you. Not all financial advisors are made the same.
Right.
And so I always recommend people visit with a financial advisor. And the first question to ask is, tell me about another client or clients you've worked with in my same lifestyle with the same problems I'm facing right now. Because you want people with recent, relevant experience. You can follow people even like me now on Instagram and YouTube, all these kind of things. But sometimes people need a face-to-face relationship for someone to walk alongside them through life's hardest decisions. But one thing I would tell people is also let these cultural norms go. The fact that if you don't have your act together by 65, you're screwed.
Right.
Nowadays, people are living longer.
And working longer because they want to be productive.
That's right. And what happens is, I talk about this in the book also, you can work longer, but you give yourself more control. One of the things that people complain about when they retire is, all my relationships are gone.
Correct.
The camaraderie is gone. Yeah. And my creative intellect and the pressure I felt of making a difference is now gone. Now what do I do? That can be a lot for people.
Yes.
So instead, people may want to say, I'm going to work until 70, but I'm going to work maybe part-time. So now income's coming in, but it meets all of my needs. I get time with my spouse or my friends, and now I get to feel like I'm needed and wanted. So don't feel like that because, I'm 55 and I'm not started saving yet, or I'm 65. It doesn't matter. All that matters is listen to this podcast right now and take action. Set some goals, determine your income goal you want to make, and then start taking action on investing. Now you are an investor. You've got skin in the game, and momentum leads to more money.
Sure does. And that's why I love this space, by the way, as you talk about working into your later years. Derrick, you'll probably see me at 80 hanging out, over 80 and flourishing.
Yeah, that's right.
Courtney by then will maybe a grandmother, who knows? But yes, that's the thing. I think that old myth of just retiring at 65, who wants to sit around and do nothing?
Nobody does.
Nobody does. We have purpose, we have creativity, we have so many gifts. The world needs us.
That's right. That's exactly right.
It is.
Yeah.
So let's do what we can and not feel like we've got this imaginary line above our heads that we somehow can't meet. We all have the potential to be income earners joyfully and contribute to this world at the same time. So thank you for kind of taking the limits off of it and the fear away from it as well. Many things can be done, and that's the gift.
That's what I would tell people, especially if they're wondering, how do I apply for a new job, or do I feel stuck right now? The key right now is to ask yourself, and this is, I think, one of the secrets to making more money. Ultimately, you're not an engineer or a CPA or a vice president or a marketing person. You're a problem solver.
Right.
Companies hire you because you have an ability to solve a problem so they can make more money. So let's flip this whole resume thing upside down and don't put at the top of the resume, customer service person seeking meaningful jobs so that I can make money and help the company be better. Ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, you just delete.
Yeah.
But when you say, problem solving expert in marketing to help your company make money, save money, be more productive. You see, that header gets you the first interview.
Sure does.
So we need to be smart. I mean, I know your listeners, they're smart, but they're looking for those tweaks.
Absolutely.
Little tweaks. We're not talking about life change or major things. It's just small little tweaks. And an example I would give you, I was at dinner at this fancy restaurant recently, and we had a wine sommelier. It was in this wine cellar. And she's talking about her job is to care for each bottle of wine. And part of her job is to give each bottle of wine a quarter twist. So the sediment doesn't come out uneven and change the flavor. And so what I tell people is I'm like their life or their money sommelier. I'm here to give you the quarter twist. Not life change, just a little quarter twist.
Right.
And all that is a boost of confidence that leads to more cash.
That's so good. And then when you have that more cash, you can go treat yourself to that dress or pair of shoes or purse or whatever. And then it's no big deal, assuming that even matters anymore,
That's right.
which chances are it probably won't.
Yeah. Or buy the stock. If you're going to go to Target, buy the stock in Target and then go shop there. That kind of balances it out.
That's it. Perfect. Win-win in my book.
That's right. Win-win.
Yes.
Yeah.
And speaking of books, pick up Good Money Revolution. People can find it on Amazon, on your website.
Wherever you buy books.
You buy books. And they can find you on Instagram at Derrick Kinney.
Yeah, Derrick T. Kinney. And then also on YouTube and also at our website, anyonecanbecomeamillionaire.com.
Well, there you go. Yeah. And we'll provide links to you as well. But always so great to have you. And just,
Thanks,
you take
Dominique.
the stress out of money. And we know retail therapy is fun, but we also want to, not get ourselves snared in the trap of all of that and to be smart and wise people over 50 so that we can flourish.
That's right. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
I love every moment with you. It's
Me
great.
too. You'll be back, I know.
Great.
Thanks, Derrick.
Thank you.